Everyone's going to gather behind the live stream. Gentlemen, like to thing? We'll have some folks just kind of move this way. Y'all.
Kevin doesn't get here. We'll show you over there.
He'll be here soon.
I think I see him. Perfect timing. There we go.
He's walking. We'll be here in a second. And then we got Jesse. After the party. Are we doing rolling? I gave everyone a speaker's list with names on it. You don't need to do that.
You introduce me. Yes.
And you will have to kind of speak directly into the mic. Yeah. No, I wouldn't move it. Yeah. You're good.
Right now? All right. Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum to everyone here. My name is Gulshan Yusuf. I'm the Executive Director with Mass Social Services Foundation. First, my thank you to Mayor Steinberg for his unwavering support and efforts during this ongoing Afghan crisis. He has always been a pillar of support for all the diverse communities that call Sacramento home. I've had the experience with the mayor in the past for his support in co-authoring the Mental Health Bill, Proposition 63. It is our good fortune in the city of Sacramento that is in charge right now. This refugee crisis is very personal and close to my heart. I came to Sacramento as a 9-year-old child from Afghanistan when the Soviets invaded. And it seems like yesterday to me when we arrived at the Sacramento airport. As traumatic as it is to flee from Afghanistan, somehow riding on a bareback mule while the echoes of bombs were flying all around us, those traumatic experiences recede to the back of the water of my mind. However it plays like cellulite in my mind is every day I spent growing up here as a child. I remember in 4th grade, my teacher was explaining to us the idea of Sisyphean task from the Greek mythology, where they would push a boulder up the hill every day, and once at the top, it would roll back down. As a child, I felt that was my experience every single day. Every morning would bring a new set of challenges, a series of unpleasant experiences, and very little help that was available to me. I know the refugees coming to Sacramento would have the same challenges, and they have to push the boulder up the hill many times over. Of the same help, but what we're trying to do all together is to make the boulder much less heavy and the hill much, much smaller. The biggest challenge of the refugee faces is language, unfamiliarity with new culture and ways of doing things, and the eagerness and knowledge of how to access help. I'm somewhat comforted that we are in a good position to help them on many good fronts. Over the past 14 years at Mass Social Services Foundation, we have developed programs that serve youth to adults and are offered in 5 languages. We have trained 68 community members as mental health peer specialists who are refugees and immigrants themselves. and speak the relevant languages and understand the culture and have, most importantly, the lived experience as a refugee. We're going to make lots of efforts in outreach in places where refugees visit so they can feel comfortable talking to trained professionals who understand them and most likely has gone through the same trauma not too long ago. Both myself and Basim, along with many other community agencies, have formed a coalition called Ansar, which will provide an array of services to meet all the needs of refugees. I'd like to conclude by expressing my gratitude once again to the mayor for his support and help throughout. And my sincere thanks to Assemblyman McCarty and Aisha from Airbnb, but not least, my colleague Basim from CARE and Jesse from Opening Doors, along with the 4 other resettlement agencies who are working extremely hard right now to help the refugees resettle here in the United States. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Mayor Steinberg to talk to you next. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean, for kicking us off today. You're going to hear as well from another partner putting real money behind this effort. Phil Cerner, Supervisor Phil Cerner, representing the County Board of Supervisors. Thank you to all who are here today. This is the week of Thanksgiving, and it's time to think about what we're grateful for. Here's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I live in a community and that I have the privilege to be the mayor of a community that welcomes the immigrant, that welcomes the refugee, that never says no, that has a big heart, that understands that we're the only country in the world that is made up almost exclusively, I always have to remember the indigenous people, of course, almost exclusively of immigrants. We say yes in Sacramento, and we're saying yes once again to the refugees from Afghanistan. This is in some ways a humanitarian crisis, but also a humanitarian opportunity. I want to thank Airbnb for showing what can be done with technology, with innovation, combined with a big heart. But most of our work now is in front of us. We expect 5,000 or so Afghan refugees still to come to the greater Sacramento region. And we are going to be prepared to welcome them with open arms. And that's why Ansar is so important here today and why I'm privileged to help kick off this coalition. Just like what we did with the Fuel Network when it came to immigration during the era of the former administration. We started the Fuel Network to create essentially a one-stop where immigrants could get the help they needed, whether it was housing assistance, whether it was legal assistance, whether it was family mental health, or anything that they needed. Ansar is going to give us the opportunity to do the same thing, to work with our 5 major resettlement agencies, to work with CARE, Basim Al-Kara, to work with all the community-based organizations, to work as a city and a county, as a state, to make sure that those 5,000 people know that they are coming to a place that they can call home. That's the Sacramento way. And so let us launch this initiative and this effort today to be ready and to put out the welcome mat in all the right ways. I also want to thank Congresswoman Doris Matsui and Congressman Ami Berra, whose teams are here today, for their leadership in helping to ensure that Sacramento is a welcoming place for all of our refugees. Please welcome Supervisor Phil Cerner, who has a significant announcement to make as well.
Well, thank you, Mayor Steinberg. It's always difficult to follow the mayor's eloquence, but today I'm here in partnership with the City of Sacramento, with CARE. I want to specifically, on behalf Sacramento County thank Airbnb for their generous contribution, and to all the other leaders, especially those with CARE and the coalition. You oftentimes hear about perhaps the city and the county perhaps not seeing eye to eye on some things. Those days are in our rearview mirror. We are partnering on a great many initiatives these days, whether it's homelessness or economic development. But this particular effort to make sure that we live up to our obligation to welcome those that are fleeing the wars that the Taliban commit in Afghanistan, that is one of the most fundamental obligations that we have. And especially this week, as the mayor rightfully cited, a week of thanks. It is very appropriate that we all stand here in solidarity to make sure that the public understands that there is a strong, strong commitment to see that the services that refugees deserve will be provided, that the housing that they deserve will be provided, the transportation, and all the other services, especially that Sacramento County provides. The mayor did make reference to an announcement, but I think it's been known for some time now that the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors feel so strongly about this that during our final budget deliberations back in September, we appropriated $5 million from the general fund to make sure that we had at least the starting resources that are required to make sure that from day one, from refugee number one, that we can provide those services. So again, I want to thank everyone that's associated with this tremendous coalition. And it's now my honor to introduce yet another partner, a dear friend of mine, and our assembly member, Kevin McCarty.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Certainly, I'm proud to be here, part of our coalition supporting refugees in Sacramento. But I did want to note that this is not new to Sacramento. Of course, California is the largest recipient of refugees over the past 15 years. But going back 40 years, Sacramento has always been a place that's welcomed refugees, live with facts and not fear. As our mayor said, we are a country of all, a melting pot. In Sacramento, after the Vietnam War, after Russia 1980s, Central America, the first Iraq War, Afghanistan 1, and back and forth again. So this is something for 40 years. Sacramento has been the lead recipient here in California as well. We'll continue to do just that. And we want to recognize the people who are doing this year and next year. We get about 7,000 Afghanis in our community. Are these 5 amazing refugee resettlement organizations right here on the front lines doing tremendous work. So this is something that we all need to step up and roll up our sleeves and work on together. It's a partnership with the city, the county, corporate partners like Airbnb stepping up and realizing they have an opportunity to welcome people in Sacramento with housing, especially in those early days when it's so stressful they can't find proper housing to be able to help people settle. What's interesting, you see on the front pages how Sacramento is unfortunately, the toughest places to live with housing costs. And I know our city and county are working on it. But we noted that refugees, regardless, want to come here to Sacramento. Why? Because Sacramento, through our community, through our organizations, through our families, is a welcoming place. And I think that's what makes this partnership so important, is to make sure we certainly foster that. From the state level, this is something that I have been working on for 5 years. 5 years ago, we launched a California Welcome to Refugee package. And one thing that we did in that budget, we set aside $5 million for school districts to help integrate refugees who are coming as youngsters, dealing with trauma, unbelievable trauma, and making sure that they can successfully partner into our school system. And I'm proud to say that we quadrupled that last year, and this year in the budget we will do so even more. So this again is an effort that we are all part of, and I'm certainly proud to be part of this coalition here this morning. And with that, let me introduce one of our partners here on the ground, Basim Nocara, with CARE, to give his perspective.
My name is Jessie Chichu. I'm the CEO of Opening Doors, one of the 5 resettlement agencies here in Sacramento. along with the International Rescue Committee, Rural Relief, Family Services, and the Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services. Sacramento has a large and vibrant Afghan community. We have welcomed Afghan refugees for over 10 years. Since 2011, over 16,000 Afghan refugees have been welcomed here in Sacramento. That's over half of all Afghan refugees coming to California. In August, as we all watched Kabul fall, the local refugee resettlement agencies saw their arrival numbers increase fourfold. For example, Opening Doors welcomed 42 individuals in July and 163 individuals in August. Most of these newly arriving Afghans want to come to Sacramento because it is such a welcoming community and because they have loved ones here. As the mayor said, this is the story of a humanitarian crisis, and it's also the story of a humanitarian opportunity, the opportunity of families reunifying. For example, the very first humanitarian evacuee that we welcomed, that had been evacuated, spent time on military bases, and we welcomed her in August. She was reuniting with her husband, who had been living here for many years. Together, the 5 refugee resettlement agencies plan to welcome thousands of these humanitarian evacuees over the coming months. And we are able to provide 90 days of resettlement services. One of those core services is housing. And as we've heard, this is an extremely big challenge for newly arriving refugees. Between the sudden increase in refugee arrivals and the vacancy rates of around 2% in Sacramento, newly arriving refugees are spending weeks, sometimes months, in temporary housing before we are able to secure their permanent housing for them. In addition to housing, we provide other core services in that 90 days, helping folks access healthcare, get their kids registered in school, enrolling mom and dad in ESL classes or job placement support. But we can't do this alone. 90 days is an incredibly short period of time, and people are going to need ongoing community support in order to thrive here in Sacramento. So to talk a little more about some of that ongoing support, I'd like to introduce also Nocara, the Executive Director of the Sacramento Valley Council on American-Islamic Relations.
Good morning. I am flanked here by my colleagues from the Ansar Coalition. Every time the Sacramento region faces a crisis, Sacramento responds. I want to thank the mayor, City Manager Howard Chan, City Council, our Board of Supervisors, Phil Cerna, and County CEO Ann Edwards for their leadership in proactively tackling this issue. I want to thank our congressional representatives, Matsui, Vera, Senator Padilla's office. During the evacuation crisis, they were there to support, to get folks on the list, and to help folks get evacuated. Now, Sacramento is ground zero nationally for the Afghan refugee crisis, as we welcome thousands to our region. Today, we are announcing that several organizations around Sacramento Valley today have launched a network of Afghan and Muslim-led organizations that will work collaboratively to provide necessary legal, housing, mental health, and social services to arriving Afghan refugees. The coalition is called American Network of Services for Afghan Refugees, Ansar, which brings together local organizations in the region that have a track record of serving the Afghan community within the last 25 years. Members of this coalition include Mass Social Services Foundation, Gulshan Yousafzai is Executive Director. They provide the mental health, wellness support, and this is really important, especially during this time with folks coming here with PTSD, other important support that they need. We have CARE, Council on American-Islamic Relations, Sacramento Valley, Central California, providing the legal and immigration support through the Immigrant Rights Center. We have Al Misbah. We have Imam Yasser Khan, who's actually the chaplain of the California Assembly, and also the founder of Al Misbah, who serves 1,000 families a month. 1,000 families a month, providing them with goods, with cash assistance, with cars, furniture, you name it. We also have RITA. RITA is one of our key partners. RITA handles the paperwork, language access, translation, folks trying to navigate the county, federal documents, they're there to support them. We have ICNA Sacramento and Islamic Relief providing relief support. And then the Council of Sacramento Valley Islamic Organizations, an umbrella organization, over 20 mosques and organizations, and the chair is Imam Yasser Khan. And SAR of Sacramento Valley hopes to serve as institutional helpers for new Afghan arrivals by facilitating comprehensive support services needed to adjust to life in the Sacramento Valley area, home of the nation's largest concentration of Afghan refugees. To learn more, you can visit ca-ansar.org. That's ca-ansar.org. Then SAR of Sacramento Valley will only further our collective efforts to ensure we take a holistic approach to providing the legal, advocacy, and wraparound services needed to support Afghan arrivals in Sacramento. And SAR will also coordinate with federal, state, and local elected officials and governments, local resettlement agencies, and national organizations to coordinate the network's local efforts and ensure that the needs of all Afghan arrivals are being met. I want to thank the resettlement organizations for their leadership. We're here to complement their work, to work with them, and we're going to be announcing committees for the region for folks to participate in. Thank you. Next, we have Aisha Irfan, who helped make all this happen. She is the Senior Public Policy Manager at Airbnb.
Morning, everyone. I want everyone to take a second and just take a look to my left, take a look to my right. This is the entire ecosystem of folks that will require to step up in this moment to ensure a dignified life for our incoming Afghan arrivals. It's going to require faith-based organizations. It's going to require our incredible settlement agencies. Jesse, thank you so much for being here. It's going to require taking the lead from Afghan-led organizations, including Afghan. And so I think for us, we talked a little bit about the opportunity here to do this work together, to do it in a way that feels impactful, that directly centers the folks we're wishing to serve. And so I want to take this opportunity to challenge all of us on thinking about how we can continue to do that. My name is Aisha Irfan. I'm here on behalf of Airbnb.org. Thank you, Mayor Steinberg, for your incredible leadership in ensuring that Sacramento continues to be a welcoming city for our new neighbors. When the Afghanistan crisis started, Airbnb.org knew that we needed to act. We've been serving incoming arrivals for years, since 2015, and this was a moment for us to expand and scale our program in partnership with resettlement agencies and in partnership with the Afghan community. To date, Airbnb.org has welcomed over 5,000 people into our local communities. Over 1,000 of them have been in the state of California, and over 300 of them have been right here in the city of Sacramento. This is no secret to anyone. Sacramento continues to be one of our top cities of arrivals for our Afghan newcomers, and so their needs are going to continue to be present and evolve. Airbnb.org is really proud to provide that first step in their resettlement journey, a warm place to land, a home to call their own, and a kitchen where they can go ahead and continue to cook their own foods and have some physical space to process everything they've been through. We look forward to continuing to work cross-sectionally across our government partners, across our resettlement agencies, and in partnership with the local community to make sure that we are a part of that long journey of transition. Airbnb.org also recognizes this is an opportunity for business leaders to step up, and so we are proud to continue to set that example, and we want to talk to you if you're interested and engaged and want to get involved. We really believe that the Afghan community, we need to continue to take the lead from them, and so we call on other business leaders to meet us in this moment so we can ensure a dignified life for all of our new neighbors. Airbnb is here for the long term. Please continue to engage in this work. We're heading into the holidays. And so if you are interested in opening up your home, please visit airbnb.org/refugees and come talk to me. I can help answer any questions. Thank you again to all of our partners for being here. Happy Thanksgiving.
2 or 3 minutes for questions.
We'd be happy to answer any questions. You have all of the experts here.
I wanted to clarify, you said that over 5,000 would be coming to
That's no, too low. 7,000. I correct myself. Up to 7,000.
The Department of State said 5,000 from the whole state of California, so I wanted to.
Yeah, our number we expect to be about 7,000. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you to everyone.